The headlines make you want to think that battery electric vehicles, EVs, are the future. And if you're buying anything else, well, you're missing out. But the numbers don't lie. EVs are sitting on lots. Hybrids are selling at rates we've never seen before. Let's get into it. Interest in hybrids is rebounding as consumer demand for pure electrics has not accelerated as quickly as is expected. And surveys are citing a variety of reasons. We know these reasons. EVs are expensive. They have limitations in the cold. They have limitations with charging and refueling, essentially, right? And S&P Global Mobility is estimating that hybrids will more than triple over the next 5 years. I think that makes sense. I think that might be even on the conservative end. But, you know, how slow hybrids have permeated the market, that's probably accurate. I like what Honda's doing with pretty much all their new vehicles coming out that have hybrid options. They're like, hey, half or more than half is going to be hybrid. And their hybrids at this point in time, in my opinion, are better than their CVT turbo combinations that they have going on. What's also mind-blowing is S&P Global Mobility is estimating that hybrids only account for 24% of new US vehicles in 2028, but pure electrics, pure EVs, battery electric EVs, they're expecting to claim 37% of the market, leaving about 40% for mild hybrids and traditional combustion engine cars. They also estimate that hybrids only account for about 7% of sales this year. Electric vehicles are already outpacing those sales at 9%, with internal combustion at 80%. Let's check out this graph here for you guys, and we're going to sink our teeth into this. There are not a lot of hybrid makers out there. We know Volkswagen and General Motors had hybrid technology, but they completely scrapped it in favor of battery electric vehicles. So we have on this graph only 4 automakers, but they are massive here in the United States, the Detroit Big Three. And also Toyota. We don't have the Koreans, which we know if you just missed my plug-in hybrid of the Tucson, make sure to check it out. I like that vehicle a lot, especially if you can get it under 40K. Anyways, Hyundai and Kia make really good hybrids as well. So it would have been awesome to have that sort of data in here from the Koreans, but we don't. So let's tear apart what we have. Well, they're saying essentially General Motors will never have hybrids ever again. They only believe in a battery electric future, mixed in with some V8s and high performance Corvettes, right? But we also have Ford. Ford, this blue dotted line here, their hybrids will account for nearly 25% by 2028. Now, Ford uses very similar technology to Toyota's planetary gear dual motor hybrid system, or Toyota Synergy hybrid Synergy drive, whatever you want to call it. They use Toyota's technology for the most part. Now, Stellantis, I don't know if they use Toyota's patents or not, which are free to use by anyone, at least for Toyota's hybrid technology, but Stellantis has a few different types of hybrids. Well, Toyota does now as well. They have a single motor hybrid that you see in the Jeep products, for example, and then they have a double motor front wheel drive based hybrid that you see on the Pacifica plug-in hybrid. And that's more similar to what Toyota does, and Ford as well. Now, the 3 of these companies also have hybrids now on their full body on frame pickup truck platforms, which is pretty cool. For Toyota, by 2028, they're expecting about 40% of their vehicles to be sold as hybrid. Now, by 2030, Toyota thinks about a third of their vehicles here in the United States will be battery electric. Could absolutely happen, especially if they get solid state batteries out before everyone. And I feel, at least for me, solid state batteries is the turning point for electrification. Whether it's fully battery electric, they'll make hybrids even better. They will make plug-in hybrids even better. Solid state batteries in theory cost less money to produce because they don't require as many materials, but no one can seem to produce them yet. So it's the holy grail that is always eluding us. But anyways, Toyota thinks they can bring them to the market by 2027 and 2028, and that should really help all of their models from hybrids all the way to fully battery electric vehicles, and even fuel cells could benefit from having a solid state battery too. Heading on over to IC cars, this will give us a bit more information about the desirability for battery electric vehicles, for hybrids as well as gas models. Which models are staying on the lots the longest? And I've made several videos on the topic that BEVs, unless they're Tesla, they are just sitting on lots collecting dust. And last year, EVs only took about 25 days to sell. Now they're looking at over 50 days. Used EVs are selling even slower, and I think that makes sense because every single EV that comes out should have better range and efficiency and newer technology than the previous models. And used EVs, at least for now, cost a lot of money, but they should depreciate pretty quickly with how fast they are outdated. But yeah, used EVs were selling at 26 days a year ago. Now they're sitting on lots nearly 60 days, 120% increase in time they're sitting there. If we look at the top 20 fastest selling 1 to 5 year old cars right now, there's actually a hybrid in the top 3. The Toyota Highlander hybrid is one of the fastest selling vehicles on the used market. The Toyota Sienna hybrid is as well, and this thing stickers at a very high price because Toyota just hasn't been able to make enough new Sienna hybrids out there. And the fastest selling used cars are typically Hondas and a lot of Toyotas in here as well. So check out what's going on with EVs right now. So last year, again, 26 days they were sitting on the lot to sell. Now they're sitting on the lot nearly 58 days. We mentioned the 120% increase in time it takes to sell a used EV. But guess what? The prices this year are about 39% less than the prices last year of used EVs. So they're way cheaper and people just don't care. They're not interested nearly like they were last year. And I want to put this side by side for you guys. If we look at the top 20 fastest selling 1 to 5 year old cars here, number 7 is the CRV, which takes 38.5 days to sell. If we look at EVs, number 7 on the used list is the Tesla Model S, and that takes 88 plus days to sell. And the 20th fastest selling car, the 4Runner, which takes 40 days to sell, is still 7 days faster selling than the Tesla Model Y, which is the fastest selling used EV. What's happening on the new car front? Well, we know interest rates are really high, and that's probably forced prices to kind of level out a little bit. But look, average car prices are still more expensive than they were a year ago by about $1,500 here, $1,700, somewhere in there. And cars are sitting 10 days longer on the lot as well. So about 25% longer sitting there, and cars cost now 4% more than they did last year. And interest rates are even higher than they were last year as well. So what are the top 20 fastest selling new cars here? Look at this. Toyota Grand Highlander just came out. Highlander hybrid, this vehicle. So they have 2 hybrid powertrains for this, right? They have the Hybrid Max, which is the 360 some horsepower. I just actually am driving it this week, that powertrain in the Toyota Crown. So stay tuned for that for the Hybrid Max powertrain review. But yeah, we knew the Toyota Highlander hybrid was the 3rd fastest selling used cars. So Toyota hybrids are an extremely, extremely high demand here. Land Rover Range Rover is also one of the fastest selling vehicles on the market, despite it costing just $1.50, no big deal. And then in number 3, the standard Grand Highlander with a 2.4 turbo makes the list. Lexus NX 350h, another hybrid here, retailing at over $51,000. It's the best NX for the money, in my opinion, because the 350 F Sport and the 350 gas turbo, just not a big fan of that setup. And the plug-in hybrid is very expensive and hard to find. Kia Forte, long live the Forte. As we know, the Kia Rio just got canceled, so the Forte is going to be bringing in the bottom end of the Kia lineup as we go forward. Subaru Crosstrek, that just got a refresh, it's doing well. Toyota Corolla, it's one of the cheapest Toyotas that you can buy. If not, it's actually since there's no Yaris in our market, it is the cheapest Toyota you can buy. Toyota Sienna hybrid. We saw that it was on the list for the top 20 used cars, how fast it moves, and here it is on the new list as well. Any other hybrids here? You better believe it. Camry hybrid. Even though we're getting ready for a redesign in the next year, people are still snapping up these Camry hybrids. Make sure to watch my review on the Camry hybrid that I tested. And then Corolla Cross hybrid and Toyota RAV4 hybrid on the list as well. So we have, they didn't put hybrid in here, but the Sequoia is a hybrid too. So we have a lot of Toyota hybrids on here. 7 out of the top 20 fastest selling vehicles are hybrids. not only that, they are Toyota hybrids. So the demand for Toyota hybrids is absolutely insane. They have arguably the best hybrids out there on the market, and they're selling in 25 days on the slower end to as fast as 9 days on the fastest end, at least for these top 20 anyways. And no, they're not selling at the volume of EVs, but I'm telling you, if Toyota was able to electrify, let's say 60% of their fleet, 75% of their fleet, I think that they would still be able to satiate that demand, and they would be outselling a lot of EVs out there. They would be able to, and Toyota's already come out recently saying they can produce hybrids and develop hybrids at a cheaper price than gasoline counterparts of the same model. So hybrids are super cheap for Toyota to make nowadays, and probably for Honda as well. I'm not so sure about Hyundai because most of their hybrids are turbocharged, at least in our market. So I feel like that would add some cost, but what do I know? Okay, just a refresh. Remember, used EVs are sitting on the market 120% longer, about 58 days they're sitting on the lot as a used EV. But new EVs aren't looking much better. They're sitting on the lot 98% longer than they were last year. So they're 50 days sitting there collecting dust on average, and their prices have also got more expensive for new EVs. Even though used EV prices have plummeted compared to last year's used EV prices, new EV prices have actually gone up 11%, which was a lot more than normal cars, which was at 3.8%. So with these slower selling EVs, which ones are actually doing the best here in terms of days on the lot? Chevy Bolt EUV, rest in peace. Even though they're going to come out with a next generation Chevy Bolt, it just goes to show you people will buy EVs if they're affordable. The Bolt is one of the few EVs out there that you can be had for under $30,000 after the tax credit. Big fan of the Chevy Bolt. My friend Charlie from Daily Motor just got a Chevy Bolt. They love it. As long as you just need it for in and around town and you're not taking long road trips on it because it does not DC fast charge worth a darn, it's a great car. And it's a very affordable car. BMW i4 is not sitting on the lots very long either. I've seen a few of them down here. They're pretty cute cars. Hyundai Ioniq 6, not sitting around all that long, 39 days. If you missed my last EV video breakdown, the Ioniq 6 is starting to see some pretty good discounts as well. Actually, all these EVs are starting to see some pretty big discounts off of MSRP because they're just sitting around too long. e-tron, Q4 e-tron in there, Ioniq 5 is in there. Surprisingly, quite a bit behind the Ioniq 6. The Ioniq 6 just came out. It's the new EV sedan. It is more of a Tesla Model 3 fighter, and in some ways gets better range than the Tesla Model 3 as well. Q8 e-tron, just so expensive. I like the vehicle, but not for how much it costs. It handles well, but all right, Mercedes-Benz. I haven't tested that vehicle out, but it's in the top 10, but still takes 50 days to sell. Mustang Mach-E, these things are sitting on a lot. They're starting to pile up. Actually, pretty much all of these, I would say from Ioniq 6 onwards, most of these EVs are starting to pile up on the lots. I mean, look at the Leaf. No one wants a Leaf anymore. If you missed my Nissan video yesterday, Nissan will be coming out with a new Leaf. It'll be a coupe-like compact crossover, subcompact crossover, and it'll get 25% better range than it does now. So it'll be close to 300 miles of range. So that is exciting. But look at the Nissan Ariya sitting on the lot 71 days. I like the Ariya a lot. It's not a perfect EV, but you know, its biggest downfall is how expensive it is. $51,000 here. F-150 Lightning, these guys are piling up on the lots too. Every time I check, there's more and more availability and inventory sitting on lots when I check. Kona Electric, I'm surprised this isn't selling faster, but it's just too expensive. This should be a $30,000 EV, but it's $40,000. And by the way, I'm going to be driving the new Kona, maybe the Kona Electric as well, in just a week and a half from now. I'm going to Baltimore, Maryland to drive the new Kona. As it gets bigger, it'll be a lot more competitive against the new HR-V and Corolla Cross, etc. Oh, so I'm going to leave the ball in your court. This is a fun one. If you were buying an electrified car today, are you getting a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or fully battery electric? And tell me why. Because battery electric and they can all make sense depending on your individual needs. For my individual needs, A plug-in hybrid minivan would be the dream with all-wheel drive. Unfortunately, there isn't such a vehicle available yet, even though I know the Pacifica plug-in hybrid is front-wheel drive only though, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. But is it too hard to ask for a Sienna Prime? Apparently it is, and maybe one day my prayers will be answered. But until then, my V6 Sienna only has like 42,000 miles on it, so it's going to go forever. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoy these EV hybrid, just any sort of vehicle updates. It's a lot of fun for me to talk about. I get pretty amped about it, pun intended. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Peace.